So now I'm looking at Lesson Master 6-7A from your homework packet. The whole top of 6-7A, this is just quadratic formula. And you guys have been really good with this, so I don't think you necessarily need to see quadratic formula by itself. But I know a lot of you are freaking out at the word problems. And I'm a little bit disappointed with the number of people who are asking for help with this with a totally blank paper. They haven't tried anything, they haven't thought about anything, they just see all those scary words and run screaming. Okay, so I want to kind of walk you through. I'm probably not going to complete these problems, but I'll get them set up for you. Okay, so if you read this, this is not Newton's formula. It looks a lot like Newton, but it's not Newton. I don't think we need my face up here anymore. Okay, this is not Newton's formula. This is an equation that compares the distance along the ground versus the height of the ball. So if I were to look at this like on a graph, okay, this is actual like ground distance. This is a much more accurate picture of the actual path of the ball. And then this is the height. So when I say it gets hit here and it goes like this is the actual, like, this is 4 feet away. Or however many, I don't know. That's going to be a lot more feet than that. But this is an actual distance, whereas with Newton, this is usually measurement of time. Okay? So how high was the ball when Juan hit it? Well, when Juan hit it, let's think about where along the ground it was. If this is where it's being hit, that's going to be a 0 on the x-axis, right? That's going to be a 0 along the ground because it's right where he's at, because that's where he's hitting it. So that's my x equals 0. I'm going to plug in 0 for x here. So I'm going to say h equals negative 0.006 times 0 squared plus 2.5 times 0 plus 4. And what's really going to happen here is this is gone, and your answer is just going to be h equals 4. And what that's telling me is that this was 4 feet off the ground when it was hit. Okay. My next question says, how far from the plate along the ground was the ball when it was the same height at which Juan hit it? That's a little bit tough to sort out, but when will it be this height again is what I'm asking. And if you see, if you draw kind of a dotted line across here, it's going to be 4 feet again on its way back down. And I want to know, where is this point located? Okay. Well, what I'm really doing there is plugging in a 4 for the height. So I'm going to put a 4 in place of h. Let's see where I want to do this. I'm going to do this along the side. So if I use this equation, I know it's hard to see when it's sideways, this equation, but I'm going to put a 4 in place of h. So it's going to look like this. 4 equals negative 0.006 x squared plus 2.5x plus 4. And then I want to solve this. Well, anytime I'm solving, I'm using quadratic formula. Okay, so I need to use quadratic formula. Before I can plug into quadratic formula, though, I need it equal to 0. So I need to get rid of this 4. So let's minus 4 and minus 4. And now I have this, negative 0.006 x squared plus 2.5x. And then this is actually just gone. And so this is my equation. And now I want to plug that into quadratic formula. And I'm going to get it set up and probably leave you to the solving. But quadratic formula would look like this. X equals, this is my b value, so negative 2.5 plus or minus the square root of negative copying down the wrong number. 2.5 squared minus 4 times negative 0.006 times my c value here is a 0, and I do want to actually plug in a 0, all over 2 times negative 0.006. Okay? I'm going to leave you to solve that from there, because I think once you have the quadratic formula set up, you'll be okay. But I want to point something out. I already know, because I'm magical, that when I get an answer here, one of my answers is going to be x equals 0. I'm going to get x equals 0 or x equals something else. And a lot of people are confused by that. Why did I get x equals 0? Well, remember the equation that you're or the question that you're asking here is when will the ball be 4 feet high? Look at our picture here. Wasn't it 4 feet high right here? We already knew that. Okay, it was 4 feet high here, and that's where x equals 0. So one of your answers is going to come out to be 0. Your other answer is going to give you this one. Okay, it's how high is, where is it right here? Okay, so that's the answer I would actually put in this spot. All right, really similar to that, part C, how far from the plate along the ground was the ball when it was 100 feet high? So this is saying, when I say how far from the plate along the ground, that is really asking me what was x equal to? Okay, what did x equal when the ball was 100 feet high? That's telling me my height is 100. So I'm plugging in 100 for h and solving for x. Okay, let's see what that would look like. I would do 100 equals negative 0.006 x squared plus 2.5x plus 4. Get it equal to 0 before we start quadratic formula. So minus 100 minus 100. Gone. 0 equals negative 0.006 x squared plus 2.5x minus 96. Okay? And then from there, you need quadratic formula to get you your answer. Again, you're probably going to get two answers here. You're probably going to get two different answers. That's because it's going to be 100 feet high in two different places. It's going to be 100 feet high maybe here and 100 feet high here. So there are two answers to this. Okay? And that's what goes in this spot. Okay. For part D, we're comparing this to a fence. The fence is 405 feet away from home plate, and it's 12 feet high. And I want to know, did the ball go over the fence? Well, I've got two different numbers here. I'm not going to plug them both in at the same time, but I want to plug one of them in and compare it to the other. Now, let's ask ourselves, what's going to be easier? We could plug in the 405, and what we'd really be asking is, how high is the ball when it reaches the fence? Okay, if I plug in 405, I'm trying to find how high is the ball when it reaches the fence. And then I can compare that to the 12 and say, is it high enough? The other thing I could do is I could look at when will the ball be the same height as the fence? 12 feet high. When along its path will it be 12 feet high? And if it is past the fence, if it's further away than the fence, then I know it must have been higher when it got to the fence, and then it would have gone over the fence. So I can do either one. I want you to look at what we did for A and then what we did for B and C. In A, we plugged in a number for X, and all we had to do was plug and chug and get an answer. For B and C, we plugged in a number for H, and that was where we were over here doing the crazy quadratic formula stuff. Which one of those is easier? Hopefully, you're seeing that this one would be easier. So I would much rather plug in a value for X than plug in a value for Y, because I just don't want to do the quadratic formula again. So looking at these two, think about which one of them would be your X value. Well, your X value is distance along the ground. That would be this, the 405 feet away. So I'm going to take that 405 feet, plug it into the original equation in place of X. So I'm going to say height equals negative 0.006 times 405 squared plus 2.5 times 405 plus 4. Okay, let's calculate that. Okay, and I get 2.35. Oh no, sorry, calculator's got a weird spot on it. That's 32.35. Let's think about what that's telling us. I plugged in 405 for X, which is horizontal distance, and I got 32.35 as an answer, which is a height, okay, because that's what I was looking for to begin with. So what this means is when the ball gets to the fence, this is how high it's going to be. If the fence is 12 feet high, am I going to go over the fence? I would say something like yes, because when the ball reaches the fence, it's 32 feet high. And obviously that's big enough to clear a 12-foot fence. Okay, so that's what I was looking for you to do there. Again, we could have also plugged in 12 for h, done quadratic formula again, and what that would have told us is where along its journey would it be 12 feet high, so like maybe here and here, and then we could have compared that to the location of the fence. But that would have been a lot more work, okay, because we would have had to do quadratic formula again. So I would much prefer this method. Okay, hopefully that was helpful to those of you who are freaking out by number 7. Really the same stuff that I've been asking you all along.